the prediction for the Wardley versus Miller fight that's coming up in July. Quite surprised this fight's actually being made, to be honest, because this is a high risk fight for Fabio Wardley. I'm not really sure why his managers and promoters would take this fight. It's from the perspective of managing Fabio Wardley's career. This is not a great fight to take, and I'm going to outline my reasons why before I go into a prediction. Firstly, Gerald Miller is not an opponent like Canelo or AJ where you're taking risk but you're getting a massive payout even if you lose. Like Edgar Berlanga fought Canelo, for example, but so what if he lost? He got a massive paycheck at the end of it. Wardley is not being financially compensated for the risk in this fight. He's just not. Wardley's an undefeated fighter. He's got a bit of hype around him. He's built a bit of a fan base in kind of Ipswich, and coming off that devastating knockout of Fraser Clarke, there's some momentum building there. If I was Fabio Wardley's management or promoter, I would have stayed far away from this fight. From a management and promotional perspective, for us the fans, it's a great fight. You know, Miller versus Wardley. Two really good heavyweights in my opinion. Maybe not world class. We'll have to see with Fabio Wardley if he develops into that. But Miller's no pushover, man. It's a fight that people are actually expecting Wardley to win. So that's another thing. It's not like a fight where if Wardley beats Miller, I think the hardcores would see it as an impressive feat. But your casuals ain't going to be like, it's not going to make Wardley the next big superstar if he beats Gerald Miller. Do you get what I mean? Like, he'd probably get more recognition from casuals beating someone like a Dillian White, who's a much easier fight, or even a Joe Joyce, because they're known names to the British public, right? And probably get more money fighting those guys as well, because like I said, they're British fighters who have fan base within this country. So I don't really understand the logic behind the promoters taking this fight, but I guess that is what it is. I mean, I think it's great for us, the fans. That's definitely a fight I'm looking forward to. Getting into the fight itself, I'm actually picking Gerald Miller to win this fight. That's not to say I don't think Fabio Wardley's a good fighter. I think he's come from the white collar scene. I think he's got a great tenacity about the way he fights. He's got a fighting spirit about him, and he can punch. I mean, we all saw the dent that he put in the side of Fraser Clarke's head. I mean, it was a scary knockout. I remember watching that and being concerned for Fraser Clarke. It looked like he was having some sort of a stroke or something, and hopefully, he was all right post-fight, and hopefully there isn't any long-term damage, because, this is a sport where you get hurt like that and you can never be the same. But yeah, I do think Fabio Wardley's a very good fighter, but I just think his style is bad for Gerald Miller. Fabio Wardley is very explosive. And when you're a very explosive fighter, managing your energy is quite difficult, And someone like Gerald Miller, he isn't the hardest puncher in the world, but he's very consistent. And he's actually got a good stamina for a man his size, and he's got a good volume. So he'll be, in my opinion, be able to take Wardley's shots. And Wardley was taken into the late rounds against Fraser Clarke, but Fraser Clarke is no Gerald Miller. Gerald Miller's got a better chin than Fraser Clarke. He's got a better work rate. He's got more experience. And I just think he's got more damn fight in him than Fraser Clarke. Had no disrespect to Fraser Clarke. He came up through the Olympic route. Technically a very good boxer, but he wasn't as seasoned as a professional as Gerald Miller is. I think Miller's more seasoned. And I do want to make a point about Gerald Miller and the failed drugs test. Of course, I'm in the school of thought that it's disgraceful, but it is what it is, We can't, try to all virtue signal. The fight's here. Most people are going to watch it. Is it right? No, but we don't live in a fair world. So if you're one of those people who's kind of in the school of thought that Gerald Miller shouldn't be getting it, I agree. But what are you going to do about it? He's got the fight. But you've got to take your personal feelings out of each fighter when you're making a prediction. That's what I'm doing here. I think Gerald Miller's going to win this fight. I'd actually probably want Wardley to win because he's a Brit. But not only that, he hasn't failed a drugs test. But just looking at it for what it is, I do think Miller wins this fight. I think people are underestimating Miller. I mean, I know he lost to Daniel Dubois, but he had a very short notice in that fight, and he actually put up a decent fight. He actually put up a better fight than Anthony Joshua did on short notice. Did he put up a better fight than Filip Hrgović? I mean, they both got stopped. Maybe Hrgović had more success, but Hrgović had more time to prepare. So that's the level we're talking about when we're looking at Gerald Miller. He is a good fighter, regardless of his past and the PED use and what you think about him as a person. I think he's the best fighter that Fabio Wardley has faced. I don't think Fabio Wardley is the best fighter that Gerald Miller's faced. And I don't think Fabio Wardley is on the level of a Daniel Dubois. People got to remember, Daniel Dubois has been boxing from the age of 10. This is second nature for him. His coordination, how natural of an act boxing is for him, allowed him to put in the performance and beat Gerald Miller the way that he did. He actually never dropped Gerald Miller, which is a testament to Gerald Miller's chin, The only guys that haven't really got dropped by Daniel Dubois have all been guys with granite chins. Joe Joyce, Filip Hrgović, and Gerald Miller, right? So I don't know how Fabio Wardley is going to go in there and blast him out. I think Miller's going to take him into deep waters. I think he's going to take Fabio Wardley's best punch. And I don't think Wardley mentally is going to be prepared for a guy who's going to take his best shot and keep walking him down all night long. I mean, this is a 300+ pound guy who can box a bit and who does have a good work rate, who's going to be in your face for 12 rounds, which I believe is a 12-round fight, right? Or is it 10? I think a 10-round fight would suit Fabio Wardley much more than a 12-round fight would. We haven't seen Fabio Wardley deep. I mean, other than the Frazier Clark fight, what is he going to be like with a guy like Miller who can take your best shot and who can put on that work rate later in the fight? I've got Joe Miller winning this fight by late stoppage. Yeah, I think he gets Wardley out of there in the second half of the fight. Yeah, I really do. I know a lot of people might say that's a big call because I've seen the odds and Fabio Wardley's the favourite, but I got Gerald Miller winning this. Not to say that Wardley can't win this, this isn't, he's not fighting the best heavyweight in the world, but I haven't seen enough from Wardley to show me he can beat a Gerald Miller. He's shown me he's got power, but if he had outboxed someone like Frazier Clark and then stopped him, I might have been more inclined to say, okay, he can do it. But we're kind of forgetting he knocked out Frazier Clark in one round, which is great, yes. But, that sort of stuff can happen in heavyweight boxing. We see guys get early one-round knockouts. It doesn't mean they're exceptionally skilled boxers, who can fight a dangerous opponent like Miller, keep him off for 12 rounds, have the experience, the little breathers you're going to have to take in there. You're going to have to clinch him. You're not going to just be able to rely on your power and blast this guy out there. I don't think Wardley's seasoned enough with that much experience to put in that sort of performance. But yeah, it's a very good fight. I mean, great for the fans. But Frank Warren, Miller's manager, what on earth are you thinking? This is a kamikaze fight. Because even if Wardley wins, the upside isn't that great. Like, it's not like everyone's going to... Because remember, he's expected to win, I mean, it's one thing when you take these big risks and you're a big underdog, because then at least in the estimation of fans, your value goes up, right? But Wardley could win this fight and not really gain much upside from it in the opinions of fans or in the ranking system or whatever. I don't know how high Miller's really ranked, to be honest with you. But yeah, I thought Kubrak Pulev or someone like that would have been a much better opponent than Gerald Miller, man. But anyway, that's my opinion. Yeah, just let me know what you lot think in the comments.